Welcome to the 43rd SCCA Runoffs from Topeka. Last year in E-Production, the start seemed to go well at Mid-Ohio, but it didn't last long as the front row got together and pole sitter Tom Thrash hit the barriers hard in his RX-7. About the halfway point, Paul Pineater spun across in front of the leaders and collected John Brocky in a vicious hit. After the cleanup, the restart took out the top three at that point, and that left John Schmidt's Prelude in the lead. But that was soon to become a massive battle. Sam Halkias in the Triumph and the Caterham 7 around the outside, splitting Schmidt. They got into a three-way battle that lasted corner after corner, giving reason why this part of Mid-Ohio is called madness. It was superb. Halkias underneath Schmidt. Smoke from brake lockup. Halkias off, back on. Schmidt follows. They get swallowed up, and out of the final turn, it is Knapp, but he broke through to take the checkers in the goal with a hair-raising win. E-Production is always a class at the runoffs that produces spectacular shows, but for some drivers, maybe too spectacular. For Buddy Norton, it all started well at Mid-Ohio last year with a front row start, but a first lap incident scuttled any chance of a gold medal. But this Caterham turns very well. Heartland Park is handling intensive. If they get their gearing sorted, he is going to be somebody to watch. Now, John Brocky also had a little bit too much of a show last year. A huge wreck on the front straight, destroyed his beautiful Miata. He spent this entire season building and developing a new one, but he won a gold medal in 2003, first time in a Miata. He will be somebody to watch. And for Sam Halkias in this beautiful Triumph TR6, 4 wins on the way to a Central Division Championship. It's the prettiest sounding car on the track, and for the ultra-quick Greek, he's hoping a shot at gold this year will be just a piece of baklava. Brad Cole is also driving a Mazda Miata. Now, he's a 3-time E-Production champ, but the last one came in 2004. Last year he won F-Prod as well. He's focused on an E-Production gold this season. But he's got to deal with Lawrence Loshak, who shoulda, coulda, most definitely should have won the race last year, leading until he was taken out starting the last lap. Watch for Loshak to try and make amends. And then you've got to deal with Tom Thrash in the Mazda RX-7. This guy has had the perfect season. 7 starts, 7 wins, and a Southwestern Division Championship. He had the pole last year in Mid-Ohio, but he wants gold today at Heartland Park. As this 43rd running of SCCA's National Championship Runoffs has progressed through its 3 days, we have seen modern technology on display. We've even seen 2 new classes debuted. But tradition runs strong in the hearts of the SCCA. And today, one of the greatest classes in the history of this great event, E-Production, comes to you for the first time ever from Heartland Park, Topeka in Topeka, Kansas. Hi everybody, as you can see, it is cloudy. It has been cloudy all day. It rained before racing started this morning, but it has held off since. The track is dry, but it is cool and windy. We hope that this will continue so we can conduct these national championships in dry weather and on this fabulous track. I'm Greg Creamer, joined by Dan Binks. Down in the pit lane, we have Jim Trado and Mike Johnson doing some yeoman duty down there. And Danny, these E-Production cars, they always put on a great show. Tell us about the track they'll be running on.
Yeah, and the technical part of this track, turn 1 through 6, you really need to be online. If you get off, you're in big trouble. And the other thing is, in the bus stop here, if you get offline, you will go off.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of racing, a lot of debris and junk on the track. It's going to be interesting. The production classes, they're awesome.
Yes, they are. They must remain in the original design, but they're highly modified cars. Different shocks, all the suspension, sway bars are all changed, and they make these classes equal by weight because they're all different size engines.
And for more on what's going on down on this grid, let's check in with Mike Johnson.
Well, Bob Neal qualified this RX-7 and finished his he was in 4th place 2 years ago in 2004. Last year he was in the 2nd place at the white flag. Now, unfortunately, he had a big crash. He felt very demoralized, very disappointed, felt like he let his sponsors down, his crews down, very upset. So this year he drove all the way from Harbor City, California. He said, this weekend it's all about a podium. I want to get my first Runoffs podium. Over to Jim.
And Mike, at 76 years young, some guys will be on the recliner. Richard Adams goes racing. He was involved in the very first runoffs. So was his crew member, Chuck Jorgensen, who joins him today. But at age 76, he's not just racing, he's winning. He's the Rocky Mountain Division champion. He's looking for a better run here today at his next runoffs. Count them all. He's been to every one of them.
That is just an amazing story. This guy has been a member of the Sports Car Club of America since 1960. He loves sports car racing, and we're looking forward to seeing him put on a great show today. We'll give you the starting lineup when we come back. And E-Production is out on their pace lap. Beautiful field of cars, wide variety of equipment. It is going to be an absolutely great run, and it is a very large field. Over 40 cars have qualified and are getting ready to take the green here. So let's get you to that starting lineup and maybe a little bit of fulfillment, if you will. Tom Thrash, remember from the top of the show, had that crash from pole last year. He's back on pole looking for a little redemption. Lawrence Loshak also taken out in a crash. He's on that front row as well. Then Pratt Cole, John Brocky, Ira, Neil Schmidt, Halkias, all these guys so very, very quickly. Understand that Andrew Fernandez there, number 49, may not make the grid. Take you through the rest of the lineup. 51, Ken Kennard, another driver who had got involved and was off in one of those incidents last year, just going evasive, basically. But I think you take a look, there's some people deep in the field. To give you an idea of how competitive this is, as you look here, in 32nd and 33rd starting spots, Adams and Haupt are two divisional champions, Dan. This field is deep.
Yes, it is. There's 40 cars, and they're all competitive, and they all win races all over the country. And when they come to this type of race, you know, the competition's just deep.
Yeah, game on, absolutely. Let's get back down, find out what's going on in the pits. Jim?
Well, our pole sitter, Tom Thrash, came physically thrashing down the pre-grid. He came down with less than the 3-minute warning up. He didn't have his helmet on yet. So as a driver, I'm guessing Dan Mix, does he have his mindset set? Some guys like to meditate on the grid for half an hour. He came right on down without his helmet. Now he's on the racetrack. Is he ready for this race?
Yeah,
Mike Johnson?
Well, you know, in E-Production, we got all types of battles going on. Tire battles, shock battles, chassis battles, but we also have a great family battle. Meredith Haupt and her father are racing against each other, and Meredith actually out-qualified them. Now, I found out when I talked to Meredith before the race that her brother-in-law and his father, Chuck and Charlie Clark, are here, and they said, I go, what, you know, who wins this race? What happens at Thanksgiving? He says, well, whoever wins the runoffs, they usually get the bigger piece of pumpkin pie come Thanksgiving Day.
I would certainly think so, and that's a great story. As I said, Brian is a divisional champion, and Meredith comes out and out-qualifies him by 9 spots. But I'll tell you what, if that's a dad, he's awful proud of her.
Oh, yeah. You can only imagine, you know, we go-kart race, and when my boy does good, it's really exciting. And to be at this level, it would be even more.
Now, to get back to the question Jim posed to you, 4 Thrash coming down there, not ready. Something obviously got him caught out. How tough is it at that point to get your head back in the game?
I think it takes a little bit, but he's raced a lot, and you know, he'll be in the game. Sometimes when you sit on the pre-grid, you know, you get nervous and just you know, butterflies or whatever. This time he didn't have a chance for that. Gets his stuff on, and here we go.
That's true. Had to get right on it and hustle to get down there. Field's starting to pair up nice and early, as I said, 40 cars. Coming around for 18 laps of national championship competition. This is a class that has been existent for a very, very long time, and it always produces some great excitement and generally some great racing at the very front. Here we go. Pace vehicle is in. Thrash, the RX-7 on the inside. Loshak next to him in the Honda Prelude. Watch for it. Field comes up. Green flag flies. We are underway, and boy, did Tom Thrash read that beautifully. Eases ahead. Coming right with him is Pratt Cole, and that bright blue Mazda Miata tucks right in behind Thrash. And Loshak trapped to the outside. That 240Z streaming up in there is Greg Ira. Went from 5th to 3rd.
Man, they got a great start. It looked like the starter gave them a late start, and they were able to make a big jump here.
Now everybody feeding through that second turn. Couple of guys dropping tires. Everybody gives them room. There's some pretty savvy driving back in the pack when that guy ran wide. Everybody realized, make a spot. Let's not tear equipment up early here in this runoff championship battle. There's the number 3 of Jeff Durnell. He qualified back in 17th spot. Good runner, champion in the Southeastern Division with 3 wins. Just didn't get her quite dialed here in qualifying. Meanwhile, up front, Thrash leads in the covered RX-7. Then the Miata of Pratt Cole. Then looks like Loshak has gone back around, and Ken Kennard is off. We were just talking about Ken and his bad luck last year. Has some more here.
Yeah, he just got off the road, and that's the key here. If you get on the curbs, you're going off the road. We've seen that in a lot of them. Here comes another one, the 09.
Oh boy, a big lurid slide for Ryan Ennis out of Vancouver, British Columbia, and well, got it woed down finally. There are spots here where there's plenty of runoff, and he was able to take advantage of that, but that's a tough way to start your day. Qualified 34th. See if we can pick it up here.
Looks like 3 wide, just got a little help.
Yeah, ooh, that Caterham 7 there was very lucky to not get caught up in that, and we ended Brian Haupt actually was the guy that he got right into him, and we've got cars everywhere now, and again, you get just a little bit offline, plus you see all the dirt and debris up there. That's the 82 of David Long, so things suddenly on this opening lap that looked good early has gone awry.
Yeah, and you can see in the bus stop there's mud everywhere, so if anybody does get off, they slide right in front of the whole pack.
Yeah, everybody needs to be very careful through that that bus stop for a couple of laps, I would think. And look at Loshak, power of that Prelude paying off. Just got a great run out of that last turn. Now that is a front drive Prelude and a rear drive Miata, and on these track conditions, any one of those really have an advantage, Danny, as Loshak gets real crossed up.
It looked like Loshak got a great run out on the front straightaway. It looks like Cole's car is very good on the brakes and very good in the tight stuff, but when they get to the long straightaway, it looks like the other car's a little faster.
And that's the 41, Ken Shreve out of Sammamish, Washington, having a bit of a moment here. He had actually worked his way to 16th on that opening lap, moving up a little bit from where he qualified. And he got some help, it looks like. A couple of guys getting around there. That was the 61 with him of Don Ahrens.
Yeah, in turn 4 over there, when you there's a natural line you can go on the inside of these guys, but it just doesn't pay off because into 5 you're getting too tight.
And take a look, Tom Thrash is opening it up a little bit. Now, he did have the better part, about half a second faster in qualifying than the rest of the field, but that Loshak-Cole battling has obviously given him a little bit of an ability to drive away. Mike?
Yeah, just down here in the 09 car, just pulled in. Looked like a broken front suspension. The left front corner was kind of wiggling all around. So, unfortunate for the driver. And he's just getting out of the car after a week long of work to get out of the car, all this work, and now have to go home.
All right, that was a very, very tough break indeed, and he makes it down into pit lane.
Yeah, it looked like the ball joint was broke. Yeah.
Oh, and we got more action. We saw, and somebody just got clipped. 2 more. Oh, one guy has crawled up on the back of the other car. That's Meredith Haupt, and that is a Caterham 7 open cockpit car.
That's a little scary with that 75 up on the front of that car, and that car doesn't have an front.
Right. Well, and the other cars, that is, I think, is that the 65 of Minor Wilcox? Absolutely, in the Caterham 7. He's okay, it looks like, but that is a spooky moment, obviously. And those other cars, while Mike was doing the pit report, those cars were in there. Obviously, I think these drivers a little bit maybe too fast coming into this area with yellow flags out. There is what started it all, the 99 of Dave Lemon getting into it with the RX-3. And, right here, a number of cars made it through clean. The workers had a yellow out, so you have to wonder what happened here. Somebody trying to get inside somebody at the wrong spot. That was a clip, and then here's the rest of it here. Boy,
yeah,
there's 6-7 cars involved in.
Right, it looked like the Ketteringham maybe tried to slow down a little bit, and the 75 just drove over the top of them. And there's just nowhere to go. That's a really tight part of the track, and when something goes wrong, as you can see, 8-10 cars wrecked.
Yeah, that's 74, Kevin Grant involved right there. And we had already talked about Dave Lemon, the 99. There's the 01 of Mike Heinzman. And Brocky, that is Brocky, who had qualified in the 4th spot, was looking so strong. Huge damage to that right corner.
Right, we didn't see that. He should have been far enough ahead. There maybe is just more action up there. Maybe somebody lost an engine or something.
Hey, I don't know, but it certainly is creating some problems, except for Thrash, who has opened it up. But it looks as though Loshak, once he got around Pratt Cole, Loshak now is coming on very, very strongly. And we got the wreckers and the crews out there. A couple of cars have moved, and we have a full course caution. And yes, I think that was absolutely necessary. As slippery as that area is, and all of those cars and therefore people out in that area, I think going full course caution, a wise move by the SCCA stewards.
Yeah, what happens there is when people start going off, it just gets more and more stuff on the track. And then when they have the safety people out there, you just need to slow everybody down and say, hey, regroup here. I'm not sure Thrash wanted that yellow, but
that was a smart thing to do. I mean, he's, as we saw last year, involved in a crash, and he understands that. And there is that 65, that Caterham of Minor Wilcox, and the 75 RX-7 of Meredith Haupt, and they're just trying to get that all sorted out. So we will take a moment to get away while we have a full course caution, take care of a little bit of business, and we will be right back to the Runoffs and E-Production in just a minute.
SCCA racing for some is a lifelong calling, and it passes on to generation. A prime example is Chuck Davis. He lives just 50 miles from Highland Park, Topeka, but it's his first time at the Runoffs. Chuck, your career spans 36 years. Tell us about those early days.
Well, I began my career in soapbox derby at the age of 10. I graduated to my first real race car, VW Beetle, and then went on to showroom stock in SCCA, and here I am today in my Acura Integra competing for the first time here at the Runoffs. I'm really excited about it.
And his love of racing has also spread to his sons, who will both compete in showroom stock in the Southwest Division.
Matter of fact, his son ran in showroom stock B right here at the runoff. So obviously that is we talked about it before, Dan. When a family gets hooked on racing, it's fun as always, but it becomes even more special. It really becomes a passion.
It does become a passion. You just live for it. When I was a kid, we just go in the garage and work and work and work, and a special time with me and my dad, and that's what they're doing. And I'm trying to do that with my son.
That's a bond that never goes away, isn't it? Very, very special indeed. Now, we are under the full course caution, but let's take a look up front just to sort of set the field for you. There's Lawrence Loshak, and Lawrence Loshak, that engine trans Goodyear Honda Prelude. I'll tell you, Jim, he was looking pretty quick before this caution came out.
He's been quick this year and last year. If you recall, 1 year ago, if you watched the runoffs on speed, Lawrence Loshak had the lead late, full course caution. He ultimately got punted out of that lead. I'm standing with Clarence Morris, who was there a year ago to live it with Lawrence Loshak. Any thoughts on this full course caution? Any replays? Any flashbacks?
Well, I'm hoping there's no replays of last year, because we were leading the race. We were very close to winning it. Looks like we've got a lot of racing today to do, so I think let's the drivers drive and let the race go.
Now, I understand you have a spotter on the backstretch. How important is that for you guys? You were asking about oil conditions and everything. This has to be a big help for you.
Absolutely. With the mud and the oil and grease that's out on the track, especially with the crashes, we need to know what's going on.
Lawrence Loshak and his crew doing everything they can to find gold here at Topeka.
Well, and as I said, right before that caution came out, he was closing up the gap that Thrash had opened up.
Yes, he had. And I'm sure his spotter told him there was a big incident over there, and he slowed down. And you need to be super careful here. Like I said, if you get offline, there's big trouble. And if your spotter can give you just a few seconds warning, it might save your car.
Well, you see the parking lot, sort of more the junkyard over there, all the cars that were involved in it. Finally, we get a number on. That's Aaron Downey's Mazda RX-3, and it was that car and another one touch going in there, and boy, the front end of that car got cleared off. Watch it here. He got checked up a little bit by the 99, and that was Dave Lemon. But watch this. Everything looks good, and then this guy, next car through, Danny.
Yeah, the orange car comes in here, clips the front of this car right here, bang, runs into the other one. Now they all start slowing down, and you know, the rest is history, as they say.
Yeah, just everything started to pile up. So number 5, Downey's car is done. You can see the other cars involved, including the 75 behind him of Meredith Haupt, and just a big cleanup. And you saw the flagger with the yellow. You saw the guys, the volunteers, moving cars off the track, and this might be a good time to give them a shout. 535 volunteers are here, and you know, this is the SCCA Runoffs for the national championships for the drivers and the competitors, but for all of the members of SCCA and the corner workers and the volunteers and all of the different specialties, it's their national showcase, and they come from all over the country, including Alaska, Hawaii, and obviously places up in Canada that have memberships and the like, come here to be a part of this national championships, and you can't go racing without those volunteers. So kudos to you. Let's check in with Mike Johnson.
Well, not only do we have a bunch of volunteers, but we have a lot of friends here too. Shirley Hall drove all the way from Ohio to help her friend John Schmidt, who's in the 62 car. Now, what are you doing here to help him out?
I'm standing at the wall to show him the lap board so he knows what lap he's on, and also I can show him his position, and we're not doing times because it's a race. But
so you every time he comes by, you flip another number over, he sees you. Do you get a wave or anything? Does he signal to you that he sees you?
no, not usually.
All right, well, just a lot of people having a lot of fun helping out their friends.
Well, that's a fact. And the other thing we should talk about is, you know, 700 plus drivers have come here and have taken the green flag, or will by the time this is done. But over 1,200 crew members have accompanied them, and the crews are the true unsung heroes because we've heard about it. All-night engine rebuilds and work. So I'll tell you what, a big salute to the crews that allow these guys to get out and race. We'll be back. The 43rd annual SCCA's National Championship Runoffs for the first year at Heartland Park, Topeka. Some great racing has already unfolded. Certainly more will be coming up. And in the class we're contesting right now, it has been exciting. Some great driving and some big incidents. Spectacular action as always in E-production. And we are just about ready to go back to green after a cleanup after that huge wreck over in the bus stop. Pace vehicle is in, and Tom Thrash leading Lawrence Loshak and the rest of the field up to the flag. And we are green. We are underway. And Thrash at the opening start of the... Oh, look at Loshak. That thing just laid down on him completely. Second, third, fourth, fifth. He's back in sixth at best right now. See if he can hang on to that. Sam Helke is coming down the inside in the Triumph. And Loshak, last thing he wants to do is get punted off here. I wonder if he missed a gear. You know that car's got motor.
Yeah, it looked like Loshak just either missed the start totally, or just was in the wrong gear or missed it. So he lost 5 spots there. He probably was in a good shape to get to Thrash.
Absolutely. So you got to wonder what happened here. He's stuck. Ooh, a lot of smoke from Sam Helkias, and that Triumph that's gone away. I wonder if that may be a little tire rub.
Yeah, I bet you Helkias bumped into somebody, or somebody bumped into him, and
man, Pratt Cole trying to get around the 62 of Schmidt, and decided, the outside going into 5, not maybe the place to do that, and tuck back in. And now Schmidt, the red Honda, very protective going into turn 6, and we'll see if that is going to give Cole a run out. It doesn't look like he was able to do much with it.
No, it doesn't look like Cole's got the power that he needs there. He was up a few spots there, and now he's lost a couple.
Field streaming through turn 7, absolutely flat out blast after that tight turn 6, and it leads him down into the bus stop. And watch for anything developing here. Back in the pack just a little bit. The question is Thrash up front getting away from Neil and Ira? And not a lot. Neil's hanging right in there. Then there's a gap back to Ira. Then he's got Schmidt, Loshak, and Cole, and Helkias all over him. Here comes Schmidt. Oh, what a nice move, but too much. Boy, he did a nice job to avoid getting into each other there.
Man, the two just forced the issue there, and man, it's messed him up big time.
Side by side, Cole now trying that move, and that's going to give him the inside for the next corner here.
Looks like Helkias' tire rub is not a big deal.
Good. Well, that's excellent. I tell you what, that is still the prettiest sounding car in all of motorsports, in my opinion. And Loshak this time not missing a gear, and look at him pull everybody down that straight chute. He just went by 2 cars.
Yeah, he just made it harder than he needed to. Man, these guys are really hustling into turn 1.
Cole locking up. Almost got into the back of Loshak, but didn't. Cole in that bright blue Miata 62 is Schmidt in that Honda behind him. Then Loshak in that white and yellow Honda Prelude, and they are coming up on Ira. Loshak looks to the inside. Ira floats out a little bit, and Loshak, he's got it. Is his car working good down tight? But look at Cole. Cole lets it have its head way around the outside. Not quite enough, Dan.
No, Loshak's getting held up here, and Pratt's trying to take advantage of it.
And Loshak sort of stuck in the middle of a sandwich at the moment, Mike.
Yeah, with the crew with Lawrence Loshak, he said that what happened at the start is that it was just kind of a quick little bobble in the engine, but he seemed to pull right through. Now it's fine, and he just, car is really strong. They feel really good about this race still.
And he just got touched. He got nudged by Cole, and Loshak, a nice job to save it. Now he's going to make the move down the inside of Ira, heading into the bus stop. And if you've got a guy like Pratt Cole banging on your bumper, that's a good idea. Get clear of him. And he did just that. Cole now under attack from the 62 of Schmidt, but that didn't really well. And so Schmidt gives Cole a little of what Cole gave, and he's going to drive on by. So I guess karma comes back, huh?
Yeah, that's do unto others as they do to you, as they say.
Helkias thought about it there in that Triumph and tucked back in that white TR6. Boy, you know what? I don't think that is. There's something coming out just behind the right front wheel, isn't there?
Yeah, it didn't look like a tire rub. It actually looked like some oil smoke, and that's not a good thing this early in the race.
Not at all. There's the number 2 of Ira up into 3rd right now. He has driven a great couple of restarts here. Started in the qualified, I should say, in the 5th spot, and moved up and has been right there. Now Cole coming back after the 62 of Schmidt, and it's a bit of a drag race, but again, that 62 Schmidt, that's the Prelude. That's got a pretty good motor, and it's a pretty good aero on that car as well, so he's able to hang on here. Locks it up just a little bit, and Cole tucks right in behind here, and everybody settles in just a little bit as they make it through turns 1 and 2 and heading into the carousel. Now here's how that started. Watch this here. Cole comes in, Danny, and Schmidt goes, "Come on, buddy, move it."
Bang, bang. Knock, knock, I'm here. And there he goes.
Little Maxwell Silverhammer moment. All right, that was an obscure Beatles reference, but we continue. Schmidt hanging on.
They used the red horn instead of the chrome horn.
Exactly.
And you can see that car carry the rear tires. The front-wheel drive cars will do that. It transfers all the way to the front, and it'll lift the inside tire.
And Cole, boy, he is all over the back of Schmidt. Great racing and E-Production, so stay with us. Tom Thrash continuing to lead here at the E-Production National Championship Runoffs, and he is starting to run away with it just a little bit, back up to about a 2-second margin. As I said earlier, he had qualified a half-second quicker than anybody else, and at this point, really the only guy we've seen who's had speed to stay with him is Lawrence Loshak, but Loshak, with that bobble in the motor on that restart, dropped to 6. He's fought his way to 3rd. He's trying to get around Neil, but boy, he's going to have his work cut out for him to catch Thrash.
Yeah, he's going to have his work cut out to catch Thrash for sure. But Neal, I think he can get Neal. Loshak's last lap was very fast. I think it was the fastest of the race so far. So we'll see what happens here. You can see both these guys really hustling into turn one.
Yep, and Loshak tucked in behind that blue and white RX-7. Again, it's a great run by Bob Neal, the Mazda Tricks Performance RX-7. Ooh, a little loose there, and that's what Loshak wants to see. Wants to push this guy as hard as he can. Gets down underneath now and putting the pressure on. Jim?
Bob Neal's team has all sorts of things going for them in the right direction from California. This is Corey Clough and what he decided to do to make himself more accustomed to Kansas. And Corey, I've got to ask, because your timing on your team, Bob's all about business. You're having a good time, though, aren't you?
I'm having a blast. This is what we come here for. Camaraderie, a lot of fun, but a lot of real serious work. So there's time for play, time for work. So right now it's all work. Afterwards it's going to be play again. So
Bob's gotten close to the podium. What have you guys done this week to prepare him for a medal run?
Well, he came here with a cold, got a cold when he got here. We had braking issues. We've kind of weird that out. We've had all different types of tire choices with all different type of rains. We've done nothing but just drive hard and drive hard. He's never been to this track before. It's his first time here, and the guy's just a nut behind the wheel. So we're shooting for a podium position. That's our best. That's what we want. So.
And guys, he promised he's not going to click his heels till after the race, and they find themselves up front.
That's right. He's got the red ruby tennies here in Kansas City, here in Kansas. But for his driver to hold off Lawrence Loshak's going to need a whole lot of courage at this stage of the race, because Loshak is all over him. Oh, we got a little wide. Loshak took a run, couldn't get it done.
Loshak's car is very, very fast. And the RX-7, it comes off the corners real strong. Looked like Loshak bubbled a little bit there and lost a couple car lengths.
I wonder if that wasn't that engine miss again, because you saw the nosedive at the spot where it normally wouldn't.
Yeah, you wouldn't think that would do it right before you're out onto the long straightaway here, and you can see he pulled away a little bit.
Yeah, so Loshak's got to really figure out a way to get by here, and in a hurry, as there's 8 laps to go at this stage, so more than half the race done, and Loshak running out of time. Although the pressure Loshak is heaping on Neal, Dan, has forced Neal to up his speed, and they have closed now a half second back on Thrash. So Thrash is not getting away. Loshak gets underneath this time. Now Neal had to pick up the hammer a little bit to get in there. That car is definitely loosening up, and there he is, another slide. So Loshak now knows he's got a shot, but Thrash, that is coming back to them in a huge hurry.
Yeah, it looks like Thrash's car is loose. It looks like he's not able to keep the nose where he wants it, and these guys are making a good run.
Neal still hanging on, but boy, Lawrence Loshak relentless, and that is his MO. Now, going back, that is the 15, and the 15 driven currently by Brian Haupten. We saw got involved in a little bit of an incident earlier, chased by the number 9 right now of Dave Smith, and Haupt actually opening it up just a little bit there, and of course Haupt qualifying back in the 33rd spot, but giving it his all, running in 27th spot. You can see that smoke just pouring off that right tire, got that damage, and that whole nose section is has been shifted over, no doubt some serious rub.
Yeah, it looks like maybe the brake duct's up against the tire or something like that, and it usually that doesn't get any better.
Other car involved in that is the 82 of David Long, so these guys putting on a great race. There is Smith sitting in that middle of that 3-car battle at this stage, and the 82 of Long trying to figure out any way to pick it up. Currently running in the 29th position here at Heartland Park, Topeka. Certainly quick into the turns, but it looks like Long's car, the number 9 of Smith, is working pretty good in a straight line at this stage, just not able to do anything with him. But obviously from Lenexa, Kansas, he knows this track and is hustling as much as he can right now. Ooh, bit of a moment there as that Caterham found a puddle here at Heartland Park, Topeka. And heat production underway. Here's what's unfolded thus far. At the start, it looked clean, and then things started to go awry. The 09 started it off with what looked like a harmless and lone spin. Then the 82 had his moment, of course. David Long, we saw that. But then it was to get very, very busy indeed. The 41 of Ken Shreve and the 61 involved, and then the big one, as they say, as a big moment there for that Aaron Downey, number 5 car, got hit, and then cars climbing on top of each other. Meredith Hopp there in the 75, and that Caterham, everybody walking away, and that's the good news indeed. It was a real mess. And then we had the restart, and at that point you saw Loshek suddenly just get out of it, and the reason he did that was because he had a stumble in the engine. Then he started a mountain charge up through the pack. He had dropped to 6. He worked his way forward, and now this is the battle for the lead. They have caught Thrash. It is a 3-car battle. The proverbial blanket covers them. Boy, for a moment there, Neil wanted to try it. Not a good place to do it because it'll just kill your exit, as it did. And we're getting a little bit of splatter on the lens of the camera there, too. That can certainly make things interesting. And you'd think if it rains, that would throw the scales firmly into the side of Lawrence Loshek's front drive car. Here we go! Neil got a great run. Down underneath Thrash. Thrash ran wide. Comes back over. Neil gave him a little room, and look at Loshek coming down the inside. 3 abreast across the line. 3 abreast. It narrows up. Thrash had to give way or he was going to get a squash nose out of that deal. And Loshek, no stumble that time, but look at Neil. I'm not giving up. Oh, bodywork flying as he runs over. Neil's still on the inside out of 2. The drag race. Unbelievable racing in Loshek finally eases ahead. And Tom Thrash has to be going, what happened there?
Yeah, it looked like he just got bobbled up coming out on the front straightaway, and these guys were really racing hard. They actually gained a second on that lap, and Loshek, actually the front drive, and the little bit of damp conditions that we're seeing right now is going to be able to pull away.
I'll tell you what, Bob Neal there with the pressure from Loshek, he found something because he was turning laps. His best lap is a 152.9, and that was just an absolutely awesome effort, not far off where he qualified, and he had to do it. Now, Danny, here it is again. Look at this, coming out of the front straight. Thrash went wide. That gave Neil an opportunity, but a big hole. Those guys are punching for Loshek, and he just kept the hammer down.
Yeah, and you can see Thrash is worried about the RX-7 on the inside, not even looking for Loshek, and Loshek says, hey, here I go.
And then this battle continued. Neil not giving it up easily by any stretch, stayed outside, ran over an under tray, still inside right here, and finally had to give it up, but this is another angle on it. And I'll tell you what, Bob Neal did a nice piece of driving right here.
Yeah, 2 wide. They both gave each other's room, which is really nice, and Loshek just outpowered him right here into the turn 3.
Yeah, either one of them could have easily run wide, taken the line away in the exit, and forced him off, and they did. Now it is starting to get damp. You can see the moisture coming down, and as I said, assuming these guys started on slicks, which you would think they did, it is going to be extremely slippery, but the front drive then should be a much, much more capable, I would think, drive configuration.
Yeah, he should be able to pull it out here. The key is staying on line, keep the tires as hot as you can, even if it's raining. You just go as fast as you can.
Boy, and is that crew jazzed, and well, they should be. Remember, late in the going last year, it got away from him, and he was taken out. He wants to build a big margin right now.
About a month ago, Greg Ira was getting married to his wife, and he was wearing a 3-piece suit, but of a different kind. Now he's here in his driver's suit, getting ready for the runoffs. Now, what was your wife like when you said, hey, honey, we're not going to be able to take our original honeymoon because we're going to Topeka, Kansas for a week?
Well, luckily I wasn't wearing my driver's suit up in Jekyll Island when we got married, but, you know, she's all about racing. She loves to come racing with us, and hopefully we'll take the gold home this weekend.
Now, did you promise her a regular honeymoon somewhere else, hopefully a little nicer than this?
Oh, absolutely. She chose the wedding date, and we knew that prep for this race weekend was going to run in the way, so we're going to go to Costa Rica in February sometime.
All right, well, congratulations.
Thanks a lot.
Costa Rica's a nice place to go, no question. You know what? That may have been a tougher sell if he was wandering around in about 30th spot, but guess what? He qualified 5th. He's running 4th and has got a shot at a medal here. So obviously, Mike, she's got to be pretty pleased with that little hesitation in the honeymoon.
Well, she's got a big smile on her face right now. This isn't what you expected for a honeymoon, though, but right now, pretty good day.
It's good so far. We're not done yet, but we're getting there.
Now, you get to go to Costa Rica, though, if you win, or Costa Rica if you lose. It's still no...
Period. That was the deal.
No matter what. That's right. Well, she's got her iCard in her hand, watching the times real tight. And I tell you guys, the rain is starting to come down a lot harder now. It's almost black all along the pavement.
Well, a rainy Topeka right now is better than Costa Rica simply because it is the runoffs and they're in the hunt for a medal right now. He has driven a beautiful race at 240Z, the fastest of that 240Z type of car here all weekend long, and just driving it beautifully.
Yes, he is. The problem with these cars is rear drive and not much rear weight. They're going to be loose big time when it rains here, and you can see it coming down.
Yeah, you just got to be so gentle when you're driving rear drive in the wet, and you have to be very sure that you are on the line with the best grip. I found out the hard way in my first ever rain race. I thought, okay, track's drying up, I'm going to give it a shot, and I was in a rear drive car just like that. Turned in, my front tire hit the dry line, my rears were on the wets, and it was gone. So just focus here is huge.
It is huge, and you can just see he just messed it up.
Well, look at this scrum that's developing. Sam Helkias, that beautiful Triumph right in the middle of it all. Jeff Derniel has gone by him. That sort of silver and red Mazda RX-7. Just in front of him is Buddy Norton, who once again qualified on the front row last year. And Buddy he said, if we get our gearing done, we'll be in good shape here. But he never could get, you can hear the miss in Helkias' car, can't you?
Yeah, and once that starts, like we said earlier, it usually doesn't get better. And he's got 4 more laps. He's going to have to baby it to make it to the end.
And you can hear that thing burbling, but Buddy Norton's concerned. He said, our gearing is off. We can't change our gearing, and it's just not right for this situation. But that car is very agile, very good, and in the damp, it's actually a pretty well-handling car. And as Derniel gets into the back to him, wiggled them both just a little bit here. Derniel, Southeastern Division champ with those 3 wins, and he is trying to figure out a way by last year's front row qualifier.
Yeah, the Lotus just needs to get a little breathing room here. You can see he was almost up to the back of him, and there's not much room between the back of the car and his back.
And there's Helkias. Right behind him is that 99, and there you see he's going to be able to get down underneath just on pure power. But it was right here where 99 Lemon got involved in that big incident that happened here. He was able to get out of it. He was one of the first guys into it. And for Helkias, one thing that might help him is rain, because if that car's missing and not got a cylinder off or something, it's almost like a incidental traction control in a sense.
Yes, it is. And you can see the 99 car losing it almost on the straightaway. Look at it's just coming down.
Yeah, it is seriously starting to get wet here. A lot of moisture at Heartland Park, and 3 laps to survive. It is Lawrence Loshak continuing to lead. He's got about 3.5 seconds in hand over Tom Thrash, who on that last lap, Danny, matched him. Actually was quicker than Loshak was on the lap time. But this is a great indication of how rain affects race cars, especially when they're running hot slicks and then it happens mid-race. The times are way off.
Yeah, 17 seconds off from when they were just a few laps to go. And, just managing the time right now.
Look at that crew, boy. They are just all wound up. Really focused and just trying to survive these last few laps. You saw the bumper of his, there you see it, I support the workers. I'll tell you, these guys understand that this is a club and everybody's in it together. Very few people get paid to come here and do this. The workers do it on their own dime. A lot of the crews volunteer all their time, and certainly the drivers have to pay the bills and the entry fees and the like. So it's a true labor of love, and Loshak doing it. Boy, this battle is getting very, very intense right now. That Caterham, the yellow car out front, is Buddy Norton. That's 6th. Actually, that's 7th because Jeff Derniel got by him. So that is now 7th. Lemon is in 8th, and now coming up the inside, I think that's the 97 of Ken Lee. No, that's not. That is is that the 61? Don Ahrens? It is. Boy, what a drive he has put together. And he ran a little wide. Buddy Norton got all out of shape, and here comes Lemon streaming by Norton. Latches right onto the back of Ahrens, and windshield wipers going. And obviously the guys with the open cockpit cars, they don't have that luxury. And I don't know if you don't like to necessarily have tear-offs in the wet, because water gets underneath there, you're in trouble. But here's what happened. Just kind of, Norton got trapped, couldn't get his exit going, lost that momentum, and watch Lemon.
Yeah, and then goes Norton right off the edge of the track. Norton, he's been sliding all over the place. He just needs to be really smooth in the last couple laps to go.
Problem is when you got guys grinding by you on one side and force you offline, that's tough. Now Loshak continues to lead, but it is very, very slick out here, and it's even catching the leader out a little bit. Watch this. Boy, you can see that rain coming down on that part of the track. Woo!
Big loose moment there. The nice thing about front drive, if you just squeeze on the gas, you can drive away from there.
That's right, and you know what? This guy started his racing career ice car racing on frozen lakes in Minnesota and Wisconsin, so sideways like that in a front drive car, pretty comfortable with that. And as you said, he knows how to get out of those big slides because you induce them in purpose. In ice racing, that's pretty familiar territory.
Yeah, Loshak here, he needs to be really careful. Thrash is coming. He's had time to, and we have a flat tire here on the Lotus.
Well, and you would guess that was when he got caught up in that battle, and he got pounded on that curb pretty hard, and I think that may have done it, huh?
Yeah, and he leaned up against that Nissan there and probably knocked the valve stem off, and his day is done.
So for Buddy Norton, a second consecutive runoffs that didn't go the way he wanted. Last year qualified outside of the front row and had an incident early, and this year problems late in the race. But for Lawrence Loshak, as you can see that moisture now, he is just driving beautifully, and there will be one lap to go next time he comes by start finish. Going back just a little bit in the order here, the number 52 is the Don Tucker driven RX-7, and excuse me, that's the Miata, and this is the battle right now for 14th. Right in front of him is Chuck Clark. That is the RX-7, number 18. Pretty good season this far in his division, a win, a few podiums, and he is under some serious pressure right now, and they're putting a lap on the 55 of Randy Carter, that Nissan Roadster, and he just hasn't had it dialed up today. But good battle here. Don Tucker, and Clark going after each other here for that. I think they're still going after that 14th spot, and Clark has it right now. Tucker applying a lot of pressure.
Yeah, these cars are really closely matched. They've been running the same lap times. He's just waiting for the 18 to maybe make a small mistake, and you just need to be real careful here in the wet weather. He's down on the inside. We'll see what happens.
Well, you know what? This that rain's drying, letting up a little bit. They're back from 209 lap times to 159, so they're running 10 seconds quicker than they were about 3-4 laps ago. Here's the 62 of Schmidt. Again, that is that Honda Prelude front drive car. He's in 5th, so that car's going to be pretty effective. But Jeff Derniel and Ahrens right behind him, those two cars. Derniel driving that RX-7, silver with the red stripe, and then the silver and black car is Ahrens in that 240Z trying to duck down underneath.
Ahrens has made big moves. He was like 12th maybe 4 or 5 laps ago, and he's on a move.
Yeah, he actually started 14th and has just been marching it up. And there's Loshak, a lap car in between he and Thrash in second place on the last lap. Thrash makes the pass, so he has found a little something, about 3-4 car lengths as they head into the bus stop for the last time. Final lap, Loshak, Thrash, and I'm guessing that rain maybe cooled off Thrash's tires a little bit. Now that rain's let up, that RX-7 has found some speed once again. He's looking to the inside, down at a 10. This is for the gold. Man, Loshak shut the door.
Thrash really looked like he had a move on him. And Loshak maybe has a problem. I'm not sure, but he's all over him now.
Well, I wonder if that engine stumble's coming back. Thrash looked to the inside, now to the other side. Nice move there by Thrash, trying to swing out wide, force Loshak in. Now Thrash is going to get a good early drive. Here he comes. Oh, and he got sideways. It may have worked, but he broke the rear tires loose. And Loshak going to hang on, but Tom Thrash, an absolutely brilliant last lap. And if he wouldn't broke those rears loose, he may have had the run. But Loshak hangs on for the gold. Thrash in second. Oh man, what a race they put on. And Neil and Ira fighting it out for the 3rd spot. We'll see what happens there. But for Lawrence Loshak, he sure loved it after what happened to him late in the race last year. And for Thrash, he finished after crashing on the opening lap. And Neil does hang on for the bronze. Wow, what a race. We'll visit with our winners. You know, sometimes you just stay with traditional classes because they produce this kind of racing. Let's get down to our winner. Jim?
We're down here, Lawrence Loshak. Lawrence, tell us about that last lap. What an awesome drive.
Oh, it was amazing. We caught up to some lap traffic, couldn't get around, and she started missing a little bit on the exit of the chicane, but I was just babing her through, short shifting. I saw Thrash coming, and man, I'd love to thank my crew right here, my sponsors, Engine Trans Exchange, Goodyear. Thank you very much. I love you all. Hi, Allison. Hi, my father, and newborn coming in November. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pete.
Mike Johnson.
Thomas Thrash, silver medalist today. Tell us about that last lap. We thought you were going to get him.
It was really close. My crew member mentioned that the track's starting to dry out. It was probably about 1 lap too late for me. I think I would have had him. Another lap, we would have had him. The Honda's awesome when it starts getting wet out there, as everybody knows, and it is obvious. He just pulled away from us for a while there, but I think we would have had him if we would have just known a little sooner.
All right, great job. Another lap. I think all I needed was another corner. That was a great race.
Oh, it was fabulous. And then, Bob Neal ending up getting the bronze medal, and Ira and Schmidt rounding out the top 5. Just an absolutely great run. And there is that very special moment, that lap of honor, and a newborn on the way. This is a pretty good year for Mr. Loshak.
Yeah, that's exciting. Winning the runoffs is a big deal. Having a kid's a big deal. We'll see how that goes.
That's great. We saw really briefly that Helkias did manage to hang on. That engine held together, which is good news. Some of the guys battling up in the front early fell back. Cole, Kennard, et al. Smith, David Long, we watched some of that battling. Brian Haupt And of course, we had those guys that were involved in that incident that ended up out of this thing. But once again, E-Production, one of the traditional classes that's been around forever, continues to put on some of the best racing at the Runoffs.
Yeah, they let some new cars in here, and it's pretty neat how they balance this, whole group of guys just with a little bit of weight, and they all run real close to each other.
And you saw another indication of the passion with that bumper sticker, born to race, forced to work. Working to live, what these guys are doing here and putting on an absolutely stunning show. E-Production, again, one of the traditional classes of the Sports Car Club of America, and just some fabulous racing. We're glad you can enjoy it with us here on Speed. We sure love bringing you this kind of racing. Grassroots racing at its absolute best from Heartland Park, Topeka for the first time. And I'll tell you what, they put on an absolutely awesome show. For Mike Johnson and Jim Trado down in the pits, Danny Binks with me here in the booth, I'm Greg Creamer. It's been great. Congratulations to our E-Production champion, finally, for Lawrence Loshak.